Okay, so let me set up for a while. I need to make sure that uh, the videos is record correctly, not like our last time that have the problem on the screen that is not moved. So I try to set yeah something like this one. First is I gonna saw the screen and also I can see your uh, the presentation is moving and also I can check that the video is recording or not. So let's get started. So I would like to say something first before we get started. For some of you who just sent email to me and asked me to remove the sounds from the microphone that is gonna hit when I move. Uh, I'm sorry about that, but I try my best to stand still, like you're not moving. And if it still have some sounds that interrupt you, just let me know again. Okay. So let's get started for the chapter two, perception. So here's the chapters that will explain on the human process in terms of perceive some stimuli, interpretation, and use those information. So this is very important for marketers like you to understand the process, how consumer perceive the color, the taste, the smell, and also the touching. And finally, how they interpret that and remember that. So it's going to link to the next chapter as well, learning and memories. But today we're going to learn uh, basic concept or fundamentals of the process of the perception first. So here's the learning objective for this chapter. First one, perception is three stages. So perception have three stage. The first thing is we expose. Second thing is we draw attention, and finally we do interpretation. But before we expose, we need to have two things in advance, which is we need to have the stimuli, and then we need to have the sensory receptors that we're gonna talk about that just very soon. Second one, products and commercial message often appear to our sense like you would like to see the colorful advertising more than just black and white, or when you go to the restaurant, you would like to smell something good compared to the food that is not have a good smell. Or even you watch the videos or watch the movie, you would like to have the fantasies like colorful uh, surround sounds or clear sounds and clear pictures. Those are the things that we need to think about when you have to deal with the consumer behaviors. Then the design of products today is the key driver. We can't deny it. For example, in Japan, they did pretty good job for the packaging design. That is the reason why many people, many consumers would like to buy, even they didn't know what is inside, but it's draw attention and it's just very attractive. Next thing is subliminal advertising. We're going to learn this term later on. So we have subliminal, which is under awareness, under consciousness. So sometimes you didn't know what you do because this is subliminal, but it's also applying to the like it's still questionable. So no one can make a clear cut. This is but in the real world of marketing, they use it. But we're gonna interpret the stimuli. So like the red color in some culture, they think red color is so bad. It's like blood. But some culture, red color is good, like in China. So they think red color is mean luck. So learn pattern and also expectation. So I have a case study that I would like to talk to you right now, which is if you ever think or ever seen the food, so please think about the color that most presented in the food. I would say not much that we're gonna have the blue color. Color we have a study that we add the blue color to the fried rice, and it's pretty obvious that is the consumer would like to ignore or to stop eating the fried rice added with the blue color because they think it should have something wrong or that it's linked to the poison because they might have some expectation on that thing. Then finally marketers use symbols or they have created a symbolic meaning into the logo or into the products. Like you see the apple, so you can determine or you can give some expectations on the products that you're going to use. Sometimes it's linked to not just product, it's linked to the class that you are in. Like if you use logo or Gucci handbag, so they're going to set you to be high society person, for example. So let's talk about this first, sensation and perception. So this two term is very close, but it's actually different in the meaning. So sensation is actually the feeling or the response that you have from your sensory receptors. So think about sensory receptors that you have. So you're gonna have eyes, ears, nose, mouth, finger, like touching. So you're gonna have that sensory receptors that you will respond to the stimuli. So the stimuli is like the object that gonna send to you, like light using the eyes to receive it, colors using the eyes, sounds using the ears, nose using odor. Odor is like using the nose that you smell something. Then mouth is gonna be actually taste. You eat the food and taste, and then you perceive by mouth, and also texture that you touch is gonna receive, or you just feel by fingers. Like sometimes you touch very smooth skin, sometimes you touch your grandparents like rough skin. Okay, then perceptions. So perception is actually three stages process, which means they're gonna have after imagine like this one. It's like you have a computer. You have to enter the data to the keyboard. So the data that you have is the basic stimuli. So keyboard is sensory receptors, and the process of perception is actually is into the computer. It's like here, perception is happening in our body, in our mind. So normally we have three stages like select, organize, and interpret. So this is the picture that wrap up everything again. So at first, you're gonna have sensory stimuli like you have the color, sound, smell, taste, and texture. Then you receive those stimuli by your sensory receptors. You have ears, have eyes, have nose, mouth, and skin. Then after this stage, we're gonna have the process of perception. It's like you expose, that is you select, attention, yes, you organize, and interpretation, that you interpret the uh, the information that you have from the first stage. So it's happened like this way, and it's actually continuous process. Then we have this term, and you're gonna see this term a lot in this class, hedonic consumption. Hedonic actually is mean liking. So hedonic consumption is mean generally people consume something because of they want to have a good feeling. They want to have uh, the good result. So that is the reason why we try to understand the consumer why they want to see the ad that is have very interesting object, like have colorful, have something fantasies, have something react to the emotion. So from this point, it's our marketer job that you need to try to understand the consumers how they like and what is the thing that make them like your product or service or even the advertising that you're going to use. So they said marketer use impact of sensations on consumers product experience. So this two picture is very good example. You need to have good looking actor or actress. Then the color that they're gonna use is also reflect to the products. Then they keep smiling. It's also reflect to you eat or you drink some food, or in this case you drink Coca-Cola. You're gonna have the smiling face. You're gonna have the happiness. So they said my enjoy zone. So that's mean it's linked to your interpretation. Or the lower one, the dog is actually French bulldog, if I'm not wrong. So, but it's have the something on his eyes. So they're gonna have we call bullseye. It's like the aims that you're gonna when you would like to shot sorry, when you would like to shoot something, they can have the target. So this one, they try to link to the meaning, and then they try to use the animal because it's so cute and it's creative friendliness. So Target did pretty good job on this one too. When you see the dog, you remember the name of the department store, Target. So they said consumer increasingly want to buy things that will keep them to hedonic values that I just mentioned at the beginning of this page. Consumer would like to see or would like to buy or would like to consume something that make them happy. So we call this one is hedonic consumption. Then we can't deny that we are in the world of sensory system. Even you watch television, even you go to some places, they try to decorate. That is the thing. They try to please you by using some sensory stimuli that's going to reflect to your hedonic. So they said our world is the symphony of the color, sounds, order, and taste. It's mean symphony is like the band. So they do the same thing together. Like they did everything with the same time. For example, if you go to see the movies, so you're gonna have would like to see the movie have clear definition, like high definition, good sounds. Sometimes the seat in the theater should have very good smell too. And then you grab some popcorn, a drink the soda or drink the carbonated drink. So that's mean that's combined together at just the same time that you watch the movies. Okay, they also said advertisement, products, packaging, radio, televisions, billboards provide sensation. So I would say this is the concept why marketers need to try to understand how the sensation reflect to the consumer perception. Then, if you know what it is, you can make it more clear and go direct way how you gonna please the consumer, how you can make them happy. So the using of sensory things here, sensory receptors, sensory stimuli, we call sensory marketing. So sensory marketing is the term that used for pay attention to our sensory sensations that's gonna affect to the product experience. So the aim of using sensory marketing is to draw attention and finally you send the message directly to the consumer and then they will have a good trend to buy your product if they like your products. Okay. Then we talk about sensory stimuli. Is actually the other term of sensory input. Like I just mentioned, we have the computer. You have to enter the data with the keyboard. The data that you have is sensory input. In here, they said our senses react to the sensory stimuli, which is touch, smell, taste, and other stimulation. So people react to those stimuli via the color, noise, and music. So they said sensory input create many associations in terms of decision, memory, and choice. Why? Think about this one. Have you ever have a good memories with some places? Then you go at that places. Then it's recall your memories. It's actually you are in the situation and you see that situations again, or even you smell something and at that time, or even you go to the restaurant and you smell the aroma from the food that you like. It remind you something. Like for me, I can smell the a cup of coffee like every morning when I wake up because my mom gonna make the coffee. Then it's remind me every time that oh this is morning. Or some of my friends still have some good memories with their ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. Every time they pass some places, they just realize that okay, some some moment is good, some moment is bad. So they just recall the memories. Okay, and everything combined together to be the memories here, according to the sensory inputs. Then I would say, let's think about this question. Think about, would you buy a new sweater without touching it? Why or why not? So when you go to the department store or any shop, then I think the first thing that you're gonna do, you touch it. That they use, then it's linked to your decision. If you have some good memories about the textures of the cloth that made from cotton, which is very smooth, you're gonna select it. But if you have bad memories about the cotton, which is not quite sturdy, it's not quite strong, it's just loose or it's not have a good feeling, so you will not buy it. So this is example how we determine and also you also link to the memories and also the choice. The link below here is and videos that I would like to suggest you to watch. It's actually all Thai. I'm sorry for the international student, but it's explained about how a girl keep the memories from um, husband that passed away. So she trying to recall the memories by setting the stimuli as much as as much as the same as possible. Like they collect the things they smell something as the same in order to record their memories. So this is a good example how sensory input or sensory stimuli reflect to the decision, memory, and the choice. So, so what is the roles of colors on consumer behaviors? Actually, the roles of consumer behaviors on the color is the connection between color and emotion. So think about when you go to the food restaurant, like food shop or the restaurant. So they tend to use the red color, yellow color, and orange color. The reason why they do that because those three colors create the arousal, like exciting, and also create the hungriness. Like you will want to eat something more if you sit in the environment that have the hot color tone more than the cold color tone. So I would say the green color should be good for some shop like spa shop. The white should be good when you go to the hospital. So think about if the hospital have the red color in all walls, what will happen? The patient's gonna be feel like, oh man, it's not quite relaxed. It's just alert every time, right? So this is the example how color link to emotion. Then let's think about this one. Color is linked is not just react to the emotion. It's have some very strong connection to biological issues and also cultural issues. So think about this one. The red color. The red color is mean danger. Like you gonna stop when you have seen the red color on the traffic jam, right? The green color is okay, it's good. It's mean like grow health or just being good. So that is the green. The culturals, like I just mentioned at the beginning, the Chinese culture, we have the same meaning, which is the red color is mean luck. But in some culture, like in Thai culture, so if you just use the red pen and write down all the letters, so it means it's not quite good because it's linked to something like blood or something like dangerous. So that is the effects of the cultures and how we applying the color into the marketing. So many marketers trying to apply the color in terms of the trade dress or in terms of the identity on the dress. So let's think about when you go to the bank. If I say, what is the bank that have the blue color? You're gonna say Krung Thai. What is the yellow one? Thai commercial. Maybe what is the maybe no, no, sorry. The yellow color gonna be Krungศรี Ayutthaya Bank. The purple one gonna be Siam Commercial Bank, something like that. So it's recall your memory, even you did not see the real name, the full name, but it still have something on your mind. Like, for example, like what is the chocolate drink that have the green color? So you're gonna remind, oh, it's Milo, right? Yeah, something like that. Then see this one. According to the previous slide that I mentioned about the color that's reflect to emotion. So they also say color emotion guide here, like the green color. So see, the green color gonna be set of the products that link to the peaceful or health. How about the yellow color? They said it's gonna mean to the optimistic or warmth. So this set of products trying to link with the meaning. So make sure that you understand the meaning of the color and is it linked? Is it suitable to your products or not? So we need to match the color and the meaning correctly. Then let's talk about this again. So we just talked about the color influence on emotion. So I would say the red colors again create the feeling of arousal, like exciting and stimulate appetite. So that's the reason why many restaurants try to use the red tone or orange tone or even the yellow tone to create or to stimulate the hungry or the appetite, hunger, sorry. Then think about the blue colors. The blue and green color is used for relaxed issues like spa or when you go to, think about this one. Blue and green color is reflecting to the nature. So that means they need to have these two color, blue and green, in order to create that you are in the nature and it would be linked to relaxation. Okay, so interestingly, not quite interesting, but for me, I think you should know. Older people see color in the dull cast. That means they did not see like quite bright or have clear, and therefore they prefer to have the bright tone. So if you get older, then your vision is not quite clear. So they try to use the bright color to replace or to just make them see something better. So that is the reason why when you deal with older people or older consumer, please think about this too. Then that's it. What color influence your feeling and create excitement into your life? So for me, I would say the green color guys that I just mentioned from the chapter one. So for me, the color that influences the feeling and create excitement to me is gonna be the green color. It's make me feel confidence, relaxed, and like free, peaceful. So next one, not just only colors is have the reaction to our feeling. So the image or the appearance or in here is about the size. The size also influence. They have some influence to our decision too. So according to the research, they said consumer ate 25 of 45 around 50% more popcorn when you have received a medium popcorn bucket. Oh, sorry. I would say if you have received a large one, you tend to eat more. Why? Because actually, according to the psychological issues, it seems like when you have the large bucket, you have the feeling like you still have more. But you have the smaller size or medium size, you feel like you can eat is too much because it's gonna run out so soon. It's gonna be decreased so soon, right? Like that. So it's about the feeling. So this course gonna teach you how you think about the consumers, how they think, and then how we design the product and service to meet them or to meet their expectation. Or the second example is like I said, tall glasses make everyone pour 30% less. Why? So we have tall glasses and thin glasses. Then if you have tall glasses, it's reflect to your feeling. Like if you pour something, it's gonna be full faster than the thin one. So you trying to pour a liquid to the tall glass and then see you're gonna have less volume of the liquid than the thin glass. Then I have this experience. So when I was studying, I used this trick to trying to see the reaction. So I found that my students eat more when they have the chocolate in small packs more than the bigger size. The reason behind that, they said, because I think smaller pack in total is gonna be less amount of number than the big pack. But actually, it's about the feeling. In reality, it's it's big. It's have much more amount. So it means if you eat small packet, but you eat several packet, it means it's gonna have a large number of the chocolate more than just one big size. But it's about the feeling. Or if I'm talking about egg tart, so you have egg tart, you have a bigger size and you have smaller size. Sometimes you eat smaller size, a few pieces, but you have one big egg tart. Actually, a few smaller size combined together is have more volume than the big size, but you feel more happy. You feel not guilty, like oh, I'm gonna eat too much, but you think that is small size. Or compare between M&M that have 7 and 10 colors chocolate. They said the students are eat more M&M when you give. 10 colors more than 7 colors. It's linked to the previous one, which is if you see many colors, you expect that it's gonna have more. So that is the reason why they consume more M&M when they have 10 colors more than just M&M that have just 7 colors. Yeah, let's think about this one. I think many of you trick, ever did this before. So between horizontal and vertical line, which one is longer? Some students just use the rulers. I would say you can do it. So between these two lines, actually, this is the same length. The reason behind that is because our eyes, actually our senses, ears, eye, mouth, touching everything, like fingers, everything is distorted. It's not complete. It's not 100% works. For example, when you drive at night, your vision gonna be reduced. The same thing. Your eyes have the lens, and then we might have some incorrect measurement when you use just your eyes, because your eye is so cool. So they're gonna have some part that is not quite straightforward. So let's think about this one. Or sometime you might see some puzzle, like they trick by they have different layers. Or even when you cross the road, they might add some signs on the road that is make you feel like it's have 3 dimension. So that is the reason why we call that is illusion of your sensory receptors. Uh, Okay, sorry. The screen is not moved until I just press third time. Then, accent or aroma. Accent or aroma create the mood. It's actually true. So, when you smell garlic, when you smell fried garlic, you're gonna think something specific like what type of food, a specific type of food. So, the same things. The mood create the memories too. So the color create emotion, that the mood create the memories. But sometimes the mood and the color can combine together. So like you have coffee. When you smell coffee in the Western culture, they gonna think about when they were young or when you are at home, because the coffee is the kind of general smell for feeling that you are at home. Then in Western culture too, they when they smell cinnamon bun, they gonna think about sex. So I couldn't sure why, but it might be the culture. Then marketers use the essence in many ways. Like think about when you have the envelope. I'm not sure that you know this or not, but when I were young, so the paper that have used the perfume, like they add some perfume in the paper, it creates some emotion. It creates the good memories to me too. Like the flower aroma. Then when I wrote the letters to my friend, they can smell the paper. Then when you read the letter and they smell at the same time, it creates the memories. So many marketers did that too. But it's not just in case of the envelope. They create that situation in many products. Or actually, it's not in the marketer world. In the school, you can use as the promotion. Like we have sketch and snip. So this is example. So when you are in the high school in America, so when you have a good grade Teacher gonna give you these stickers. Then when you sketch or when you just break it with some coin or some pencil, the smell is released. Then the children have fun about smell that they have. It might be something that they can help to guess. Oh, what is smell like? So they said scan and snip mainly market to teachers that in terms of the reward that he or she gonna give to the student. But actually you can apply this to your future consumer too. Think about when you can draw attention to your new consumers. So you can have these stickers and then you just create sketch these stickers to smell our new products. So this is gonna be good. This one gonna work when the smell is okay, like it smell good, not just smell something wrong or smell not familiar. No, think about this one. Sounds. So sounds also affects the feeling. I think many of you know it. So when you listen to the music, some classical music make you feel relaxed. Some rock music make you feel excited. The same thing. But before that, we have this term. We have the name like phonemes. So phoneme is individual sounds that might make you feel like or dislike. So some of my friends have some sounds that they made and I didn't like the chalk, the sounds of the chalk when it's touched with the blackboard. So it's make me feel like oh it's not good. It's irritate. Or even you eat when you're eating the food, then they did not be aware that they make some bad noise like it's like jab jab. It's like your lips or your mouth have make some sounds. So it's quite impolite in my perception, and my family did not like that too. It might be the culture, but for me, it seems like if you can eat quietly, that should be better. Okay, that is how it's linked to the interpretation. So we also have the mosaic. This term is mean the use of the sounds and music to create the mood. So they said if you have high tempo, like the the sounds that have more um, what you call in English, I think the sounds that have more tempo, like have more pitch, we call it like that. So it's have the high note. So it's more stimulation, like you hear the the rock music or rap music. So it's create a stimulation. But if you hear the pop song, if you hear the classical songs, so it's more relaxed. That is the reason why you need to think about when you have the restaurant, what type of suitable sounds that gonna present to your consumers. It's gonna be, it depends. So if you have the dinner, it should be slow tempo to make them relax and enjoy the meal. Okay, that is the reason why on the movies you're gonna have seen the many restaurant they have the musician to play the music like violin or piano to create the emotion, to create the atmosphere. Then touch. So sometimes we can use this term touch in terms of haptic senses. So haptic senses is basic of the sense. So many of you might think about when you were young, when you touch something and then you think, oh, this is not usual, like when something is rubbed. So when you touch it and you think, oh, it's not smooth like I ever have. So that is the basic senses. Or um, haptic sense or the touching senses is reflect to your product experience and the judgment. So link to the example that I just mentioned. So when I I ever touched my friend's hand, and I thought that her hand is so rough, and I thought that her hand is used a lot for working. So at that time, I feel like, wow, these women work so hard. So it's mean it's reflect to our judgment, and also it's reflect to the product experience. For example, if you expect something have the smooth texture, then you just like pencil. If you touch the pencil and it have very smooth texture, you feel good. But if your pencil have something wrong, like it's quite rough, then you're gonna have something in your mind. Wow, this one should have something wrong, or even they have some bad texture. So I will not like it. That is example of touch. Then uh, we have this term, interesting term. It's Japanese term. Can say engineering. So this term is mean the philosophies that use the consumer feeling to design the element. So I have very good example here. Mazda Iota, I think if I'm not wrong pronunciation, they trying to create the feeling when you sit in this type of the car, you feel like you are riding on the horse, and then you feel luxuries. So they're trying to link how consumer want in terms of feeling to the product design. So this one is very good example. Like the sport car, they're trying to design the the seat like you are in very luxuries or very high standard, high society class because it's feel make you feel proud of it. So touch help marketer to understand how to design the products according to the consumer sense of touch. Okay. Then, so not even just we determine the meanings, but sometimes it can link to the preference, it can link to the other meaning as well. Like they have this one good example, textile quality association. So they have the connection between the quality and the textile or the cloth sensation. So think about this one first on vertical. So they have two line, like two level. They have high class and low class for males. Wolves. So wool, they have the meaning as a high class because it have fine texture. But denim is like jeans. It's have the coarse texture. So they interpret like it's used for the low class like labor work. How about female? If you have the silk, it is very fine texture. So you're gonna keep some definition as the high class products. But if the product made from cotton, so you're gonna determine like the coarse texture, not quite smooth. So it's used for low class. So here are example how you should concern for the product and service when you deal with the consumer. Don't make them feel wrong when they have the wrong stimuli. Like if you want to set is high class for women, so you should think about what is the qualities or what is the material that gonna use. In this case, you need to use the silk instead of cotton because cotton described as the low class. Okay. So next one is about the taste. Taste of flavor. Actually, in food science, taste we have five basic tastes: salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and the fifth one is umami. It means delicious. But flavor is actually a combination between taste and aroma. So flavor provide new combination on your palate. The things that is different between taste and flavor is like taste is have five things that I just mentioned: sour, sweet, salty, bitter, and umami. But flavor is like you put the butter into your tongue, then you perceive about the things that happen into your mouth, not just that's five basic tastes. So that is the definition of flavor. Then they said cultural change determine desirable taste. So in different culture have different the taste that you like. For example, in Asian culture we have the taste is mean like we have the taste in terms of the sweet taste, and we use some spice, so it's create the spicy. Spicy is not taste. Spicy is the reaction from irritation. So it's like you eat the chilies and you irritate into your mouth. So spicy is actually not the taste in terms of scientifics. So Asian people tend to eat more spicy food. So they would say the more respect of ethics or the uh, ethics mean the rest or the food from different culture. So if you respect the different culture, that you're trying to eat more spicy food, right? Because the culture of eating in this world we have a lot. So European country they need not use a lot of spice like chilies or pepper, but in Asian culture we use a lot. So that is the reason why they said if you accept eating different cultural dishes. So you seem that you enjoy with more spicy food. Think about this question: how have your taste buds changed since you were a child? Do you eat food now that you wouldn't touch at in the high school? So think about this one. Actually, the preference on the taste might change during the time. Think about the coffee. When you were young, you might not like the coffee because it's bitter, but for now, it's okay. Or even when you were young, you drink beer, you feel, oh, it's so bitter. But for now, why you drink it? Because the preference can be changed, and the marketer need to concern about this one too. Then exports. So if you are the photographer, you might know this word exposure. So expose mean it's open, is seeing. So exposure occurs when stimuli come within the range of sensory receptors. So we have five sensory receptors that we just mentioned. We have eyes, ears, mouth, skin, and tongue. So actually, mouth and tongue is gonna be the same thing. Sorry. So when you have the stimuli and it's come to the sensory receptor, you need to perceive it. So we can concentrate, ignore, or completely miss the stimuli. Think about when you see your friend, but you didn't know who he or she is because you did not concentrate or you did not focus on the person in front of you. But when or even when you eat ice cream and then you do something else, you did not know the real taste. You just eat like you eat lemon ice cream and then you found out, oh, I can't remember what is the taste of the ice cream because you just focus on the television. So this is example. So again, expose can be you can concentrate, ignore, or miss. Like sometimes you miss something because you did not concentrate or ignore it. So the link below is the how marketers apply the concept of exposures to the ads. So they know that the exposure is very important, but cardiac car. They have some abilities to increase the speed from 0 to 100 kilometers just 5 seconds. How we can make this thing interesting. So they just show the ads like and then describe just 5 seconds that I can increase the speed. So exposure is mean just 5 seconds is too short, but in this case, exposures mean a lot because it can have 100 kilometers per hour just 5 seconds. So this is very clever. Then sensory threshold. But before I explain sensory threshold, let's talk about these words too. Psychophysics. So psychophysics is the science that focus on how physical properties of environment link to your personal issues or personal perception, like how the environment reflect to your perception, how environment influence to your decision. So this is about psychophysics. Then we need to know this word absolute threshold. Remember like this way, absolute threshold is the minimum amount of stimulation that you can detect. So it means this is the lowest intensity or lowest amount that you can perceive from the stimuli. Like something that you add sugar and then you perceive as sweet. That is absolute threshold. So absolute threshold in each people have different level, but you need to be careful about the general absolute threshold because that is the level that many consumers gonna perceive. Another example of uh, absolute threshold is like the dog. The dog, the dog can perceive beyond our absolute threshold because they have more sensory receptors in his or her ears. So they can hear something that we can't hear. It's like the joke that for Thai culture, the dog can hear the ghost sounds like that. So they said the sound of a dog whistle, like when they blow the whistle. Our like human did not hear what it is, but the dog hear it. So the dog have beyond our auditory absolute threshold. Then here are example of absolute threshold. I just want to just give some example like smell. So they said a drop of perfume in a three-room apartment. Like uh, how may, how you perceive the smell when you drop a perfume. So it might be measure with the length, measure with the size of the room is okay too. Or we can measure the distance that you can see a candle. So in this case, they're gonna say in general, it's around 30 miles that on the clear and dark night that you're gonna see the candle. That is the first level that you see the light. So that is example of absolute threshold on vision. Then differential threshold. So we have absolute threshold, which is the minimum level that you can perceive, and we also have differential threshold. So they said differential threshold is ability of sensory system to detect the change or differences between two stimuli. So if you have two things, and differential threshold is ability of our senses to detect that these two things is different. So this, in other terms, they can say like minimum difference between two stimuli is just JND or just noticeable. So remember like this way, J and D, just noticeable different. It means different, minimum different that you know this is different. Like you have not it's not quite good example, but if you have imagine this is also blue color. So it may be minimum different that you can know this two pen is different. So that's mean color intensity gonna be how strong of the color in both pens gonna let you know this two pen is different. That is the JND. Example of JND like here is packaging update. So marketer need to concern if you would like to change the level, make sure that the consumer still perceive this is the same brand. So they said Campbell soup in these pictures change label over the time, but consumers always recognize the products because they use the same tone, same color, maybe almost the same font, but just different in details. So they have red and white, they have the logo, they have the name. So make sure that they still perceive the same thing. Next one we call Weber's law. So this is more science. Weber's law explain like the chain of intensity, the chain of how it's strong, divided by initial intensity should be constant. In other terms, I would say even you increase the price, but if your if the consumer perception think it is the same, it is stable, it is constant, even your price increase, but when you compare with the change, but with the original level, they think, oh, if you add more 5 baht, but the initial price is expensive, you feel like, oh, it's okay. So it's something like that. So would like to make the conclusion here again. Weber's law mentioned about if you would like to change something, make sure that consumer perceive is not over or is have the constant level. So in marketing, they said to increase the price for the product, marketer found a company may change the price with a certain percentage before consumer notice. Like you change the price a little, just a little bit without any perceptions from the consumer that is okay. So let's think about this one, but I think you all perceive it. Think about Lay's, how long that you're gonna perceive Lay's, like the potato chips in Lay's is reduced. I would say maybe not reduced, but the price of the Lay's is increased from 5 to 10. So they say, have you ever noticed less chips in the bag and the amount of air in the package? So how you notice it? You might notice just long times ago, but it's still okay right now. So make sure that if you want to reduce the amount of the chips, make sure the consumer don't perceive that amount of the chip is reduced or the price is increased a lot. So this is a good start, a good example. Like you have instant noodle. So when instant noodle increase just 0.5 baht, it affects a lot because the initial price is not quite high. So if you increase 1 baht, it also have a huge impact. So that is the reason why instant noodle is not quite changed on the percentage. So they just want to be stable. Don't make the consumer feel like the price change and then they think it's too expensive. Then subliminal perception. So subliminal perception is happen when you think something that happened below on your awareness. So they said subliminal perception occur when stimulus is below our consumer awareness. It's like here we learning online. You listen to me, but if you do something without thinking, it's like you have subliminal action. Or if you think something else during my teaching, so you oh that is subliminal action too. So that's it. Subliminal perception is happen a lot in marketing work, but it's rumor or it's like not 100%. It's like the joke or it's like something that you can talk um, a lot because advertising with subliminal issue are rampant and it's have a little proof, so it's not like 100% correct. Most researchers believe that subliminal technique is not much used in marketing, but actually they use it a lot. Like here, so this is the brand in America, Wendy. What's wrong with this girl color? Did you see something? No, right? Did you see the word like M-O-M, mom? So like here, M-O-M on the color. Why is mom? Think about what is the most delicious food that you ever eaten? The answer is mom. So this word is linked a lot to the perception, to the feeling, and to the interpretation. So that's the reason why they trying to create the word like this one. It's not just coincident, it's actually made by the marketers. So we can use the subliminal technique into two ways. The first one, you can use embedded technique, like you use high-speed photography or airbrushing on the products. Like you have the advertising, then something go fast, but actually your brain still perceives something. I have some example later on. Then sometimes you can use subliminal auditory perception like sounds, movies that insert into advertising. You can use that too. So here are example. First one, KFC snacker. Is from KFC tried to create a snack meal. That's just $1. So I would suggest you to watch first link of the YouTube here. Then you're gonna watch the second link that's gonna explain what happened. So I'm gonna make the summary of this case. In this case, they use the fast speed advertising, but the marketer adds something here, which is $1 bill on the lettuce, the vegetable here. Why they do that? Because it's actually this price 99 cents or almost $1. This is cheap. So when you see this ad a lot, the marketer think you can perceive that this is just $1. So this is cheap, and then you can have this one very easy, and then you want to buy it. So this is the reason behind you make the $1 bill on the advertisement like this way. So it seems like when every time you watch television, you're gonna develop subliminal or the things that you did not aware. But be careful. I said before, there is no evidence to support this technique gonna be good or effective. But it's still questionable. It's still talking. Then another example, which is you might not know. So this one use some words that is our instinct, which is human need to have the sex. So these three pictures have the words sex in all of them. So let's see the first one. Here, the eyes. You can guess this is S, E, and X. C is not normal. Or this one, berry SE explosion. Sex again. SEX on the can. Why they concerned about the sex? Because it's natural instinct. You need to have the reproduction. Think about this one. Boys would like to see the girls, girl would like to see the boys. So it's about the sex. Okay. Or this is an example that I just mentioned. Even we have the air brushing technique, you can have the auditory technique like here. Sorry. We can use the subliminal auditory perception. Like they have some research and they found that when you sit in the German restaurant and they open German music, you tend to use German beverage more or in the French at the same time. Like you gonna drink the French wine more. So that is example. But again, it's still questionable. Another example that is very interesting that I show these videos to the student in every year, they found that this is the one that they think is, is interesting. So please watch the full length of this video first. It's around 7 minutes. So they said this is the power of subliminal messages creating by Darren Brown. So they're gonna have the British accent. So it's not quite easy for many of you. Many students complained this before, but trying to listen it. Then I can make the conclusion. After you watch this video, you're gonna find that to marketers to create the advertising poster. Then he just have the envelope for the solution. He just provides some information. But surprisingly, these two marketers create the advertising poster that have the same meaning as he have on the envelope. So why, how he did it? This video gonna explain on it. So I will not guess anymore, but just encourage you to watch this video and you're gonna understand more how marketers believe subliminal advertising is gonna be work, even it's not true. Okay, so but I can make the conclusion right here. The experiment show how influential our surrounding on us, like how the environment affects to you. So advertisers have long known that by making unconscious aware. So these videos can help you to understand that you might have some impact of dairy unconsciousness. Like every time, like for me, I drive to the MFU every day on work days. So every time I drive, I gonna see some environment like on the road. And then it seems like I gonna collect it every day. So I found that sometimes I go to the restaurant, I go to the department store, I select that product very easy. Why? Because I saw this a lot and is imprint or is record in my unconscious level. But the things that they talk in this case is um, even it's not 100% proved, but if it has some effects, it might be dangerous because sometimes some marketers can use this technique to uh, to influence the vote, to influence the result of election or of the voting. So He said, if Brown can influence strangers with this message, how we save from this action? So I would say, even it's not 100% proof, but it's good for us to aware of using this technique from the marketers. So these pictures again. So we just talk about the sensory stimuli, sensory receptors, then we expose it. So let's talk about the second stage of perception, which is attention. So attention is the intent to which process activity that you devote or focused. So I would say attention is mean you just aware and want to see it. It's like that. So they said devoted or focused to particular stimuli. But the things that marketers should concern, which is for now, we are in a world of sensory overload. So sensory overload is mean you have a lot of stimuli, right? So when you watch television, how many advertisement that you remember? Maybe none of them because it's too much, right? So marketer need to break through the clutter or make something different, make something special than the others. That is the thing that we should do. So how we can cut through the clutter? So if we have very big sport event, then during the break, they're gonna have the advertising time. That's gonna cost a lot. So they try to use the that time to present the products. So they should do something special, like create something that is not usual, or making something special, or use some technique that is quite new, or the content should be very interesting. Or sometimes when you go like surfing the internet, so going to the website, so you have some surprisingly movement from the object. So that is draw your attention. So that is example of cut through clutter as well. Or have you ever wondered why you have seen the teasers of the musics and movies? Because they want to draw your attention. Even sometimes it was blamed, like the teaser of the movie is fun, it's like joke, but actually the movie is not quite have fun. Many people complain about it too. Then we're gonna have this term perceptual selectivity. It means people pay attention all the stimuli which they are exposed. So that means you're gonna do attention just for the one that you see. So let's talk about the perceptual things more. So in reality, we have this issue which is perceptual filter, the things that you can use for filter some information. So every people might have these three perceptual filters. Let's talk about the first one. So the first one is perceptual vigilant. So perceptual vigilant is the awareness of stimuli that you just need or you really need. You're gonna focus on just that one because it's linked to the things that you need. It's like you just concern the things that you would like to have. For example, if you at the end of this semester you waiting for the register office gonna announce the grade, so you're waiting for something like that. That is perceptual vigilant. Perceptual defense. So what is it? It's actually the things that you don't want to see, like you get older or you have some bad image, so you don't want to see it. This is perceptual defense. And you also have the adaptation. So adaptation that you like you familiar, you or you feel not different situation. Here are a very good example of perceptual defense. This is Japanese advertisement. So They want to show that when you smoke, you might be the right part, which is you get old very fast when you smoke. So this is perceptual defense. How about adaptation? So again, adaptation does mean you familiar or you can feel something different in that situation. There are many factors that lead you to the adaptation. The first one is its intensity. If something have less intensity or if the stimuli have less intensity, so it's gonna create adaptation. Like think about this one. If my teeth is quite monotone, so it's not have high intensity anymore. So you feel like, oh, okay, it's like that. So you adapt it. Duration. If you can see it many times, you adapt to it. Then discrimination. If the stimuli is not different, it's just normal. It's just like you're familiar with that one. So it's create the adaptation or exposures. So if you see, it's like you frequent seeing, you see it again and again. Sorry, duration is mean you can if you see that for a long time, you adapt it. Exposed if you see many time is exposed. And then relevance if something's not linked or not relevant to the things that you concern is create the adaptation. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Then stimulus selection factors. So we have the problem on adaptation, which is many marketers think we should not make it happen because the consumer might not feel something interesting on our product. What you're gonna do? You need to do something that we call contrast or something that is make something different. So we are more likely to notice stimuli that is differ from the one that is have. So you can make contrast in many ways. Like you can use the size that is different size can create the different contrast. Like if I make some size of the letter is quite big or the red color or the color that is not normal or position that I just arrange in different positions. It's not just normal ways like this or if I can create something new, you can make the contrast and can draw attention from the consumers. Some students ask me, Ajahn, what is novelty? Novelty that like something new. Like for example, it's have some case few years ago on the traffic jam. This a product trying to draw attention by just wear the mascot of the product and then just dance on the road, middle of the road. Then both of all of them just grabbed or just caught by the police. So novelty is like that. So you create something special on that situation. Novelty is not easy, but if you can do it, your consumer gonna remember your products forever. So we just talk about attention. Let's talk about last part, which is interpretation. So interpretation is interesting. You might not know our brain can interpret something without thinking. Like you have some instinct, you have some memory, you have some system on your brain that create the meaning. So they said interpretations refer to the meaning that we assign to stimuli, which based on sets of beliefs, like this picture. So this is the adds up something that I would not answer right now, but at first I give you 5 seconds. If you see this picture, what do you think? It's actually like living room, right? But did you see the arrangement? So did it like the car? This is Toyota advertisement. So they try to give some meaning to you, which is Toyota. When you use Toyota, it's like you sit in the living room, which is very comfortable. So cleverly, this is how marketer trying to use the sensory perceptions to this interpretation. So the other technique that we can use for, in terms of marketer is stimulus organization. The whole concept for this topic is we call Gestalt. Gestalt is the German word. This means we believe that consumers perceive whole things more than just sum of parts. Like in other terms, it seems like you did not have a clear picture, but you know what it is because we perceive like the big picture more than just grab something small part. So they have three example for Gestalt. First one, closure. Closure is like people perceive incomplete picture as complete. It's like when you were young, you just asked to link the dot of the picture something, then you even it's not finished yet, but you know what it is. Or similarities. Customer try to group the same object together. Like I asked you to group the things that is have the yellow color. You try to grab the things that had yellow color together. Even you don't know what it is, but you know that have the similarities. Last one, figure ground. Figure ground is like you have two layers. So you have background and you have the front pictures, but you still know what it is. I have this example. This is example of figure ground principles. The left one is the ads from Australian Postal Service. So what does it mean? It means did you see some guys hug the women? But actually the guy is the letter. So actually this means this postal service gonna take care of your uh, your envelope or yours. They're gonna do a good service with care. Like they're gonna do like they're gonna hug and they're gonna give you with very good care. And next one is says the Pittsburgh Zoo. You can see the gorilla and the tiger, but you still see the green tree, right? So this is the figure ground principle. You still know what it is. Semantics. Semantic is the connection between three things. So we have signs on the object, we have the symbols that's linked together. Again, marketing message, when you want to do this one, marketer trying to create the link from three basic components, which is first object. So you should have products. Then you should have sign, which is sensory image that represent or have some connection with the object. And the last one, interpretation. Interpretation is very important because this one gonna make sure that the consumer understand it or not. This is example. Semiotics relationship. So you should have the object first, which is Marlboro cigarette. Then the manager try to use the sign or image which is cowboy. Why they use it? Because they think in at the final stage the interpretation they must interpret like racket American, which is American who do the like the hard work to be the cowboy who sturdy who do the gonna be the top guy, like not quite soft, do the farm like that. So it's like present the men's identity. So this is how we create the interpretation. So this ad said come to where the flavor is come to Marlboro country. So just these few words, but it means all things. So you have the pictures, you have the product, and then consumer have interpretation. So that is good. Then perceptual precision. It would be describe which is brand perception or how consumer perceive the brand. Actually, when you perceive the brand, is from the function or how it's gonna be used, and also the symbolic. So again, brand perception is combination between functional characteristic and symbolic characteristic. It's not just symbolic for branding, but it should be at the functional as well. So perceptual map is the map that consumer perceive about the product. This is very important because the marketer need to know where we are. So they would say, how does marketer determine where the product actually stand in or actually perceived by the consumer? They would say, one thing that you can do, if you think about the attribute or characteristic, let's ask about this one. Like for example, if I want to know where is if I'm the Pepsi company and I think Pepsi has the strong attribute or strong characteristic, which is the fussiness or bring and create the freshness, something like that. And I would say, so what is the black color beverage that you think is gonna create the highest freshness? If they say Pepsi, 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 that means our that is their or that is consumer perceptual map. But if we talk about what is the black beverage of black soda that have the ha- most sweet taste, and they said Coke, Coke, Coke. Okay, that is also perceptual map for Coke. Okay, then how is gonna be used? This one can use because you would like to know the competitor's position. If your competitors have the concept like the same thing that you are in, you're gonna have the problem. Like Pepsi and Coke have the same position. You need to do the other things. Like you need to create something different. That is the other issue. Positioning strategy. After you know your position, you need to know the consumer interpretation of the brand. Like the brand your brand gonna be very high level, that is good for you, but they perceive that if your product is your product or brand is fit with the high society, but the cost is very high and not many times that I can buy. So that's mean you need, if you think it's not correct, you need to do something which is we call repositioning if it's not correct that you want. So I have some brand positioning as a function of the green words here on the next page. But let's talk about the picture here. Red Bull, if you ask many Thai what they perceive on Red Bull in the past, they're gonna say the same thing. Red Bull is for label because in the past the level is so classic. It's too classic. It's like very old time energy drink. It's good for labor work, but for now they repositioning by create the new level, and they also do some promotion, create some new image on it. So let's me give some example on positioning strategies. So if you would like to focus on occasions, like the company of Wrigley chewing gum, then I can make this sentence like the gum used when smoking is not permitted. So I use the concept of occasion. So when you can't smoke, you just chew the gum. That's fine. Or if you want to be very highest quality, so just say like at Ford, quality is job one. Like you're gonna do your best for the products, like Ford car, like this one. So in summary, perception is three stages process. So you have sensory stimuli, you have sensory receptor, and actually perception process is start from attention. Then, oh, sorry. Before attention, you should have exposures, then attention, and then interpretation. It must have three stages. Product and message are appear to our senses. So marketers use sensory stimuli like color, taste, smell, whatever to draw your attention. Then the design is also affects to your perception. So you should think about the design carefully, not just the look. Think about how it's different, how is draw attention. And subliminal is still questionable. It's not 100% correct. We interpret the result based on the learned pattern. Like you perceive something, you have semiotics. Like I said, they have image, they have the brand. Then you interpret to the meaning. So it's something like that. So it's just learned pattern. Then marketer use symbols to create the meaning. So if you have a good work on create a symbolic, it's gonna link to some meaning like Nike. So you can link, oh, this is the products for sport. This is famous sport products like that. So that's all for the second chapters. It's spent almost 2 hours, but I hope you have a very good information for the perception uh, lectures. So again, um, let me know if some part is not clear. I'm gonna have a live session on Thursday from up after we have the online quiz, and it's gonna spend around 45 minutes to 1 hour. Feel free to join the Google Meet. I'm gonna generate it and wait for you there. So don't hesitate to ask me any questions or comment. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day and take care of yourself. Bye bye.